So, welcome to this video about attack vectors and attack surfaces. I'll be giving you an introduction to some of the main surfaces and some of the main attack vectors. So, one of the most important ones, you probably already know them, they are viruses or vira. And virus is spread within a system and they can jump from computer to computer. So they will go in and then they eventually will spread to more and more units within the system, computer units. It's in its definition, its rare definition, or it's like its bare definition. It's a computer program that is enabled to replicate itself and insert malicious code into other programs. An infected computer has been attacked by a virus. They require a host. So like that's something that's just what the definition is. An infected computer has been attacked by a virus, and they require a host program writes its own code in its host program, and the program will run the malicious code. So you get some way you will have a host program getting into the computer, and then it will run this code that will do something bad to the computer. So it will get through the attack surface, and then it will implement its malicious or its unintended act, or like its attack that causes the infection damage to the program. So it's harmful. A computer worm does not need to host a host program, since this one can spread by itself from program to program, or it's like an independent program or code chunk. So it will actively carry out attacks by itself. So it will it would just spread. The way people get through these attack surfaces and get access or insert these viruses into a system is through what often is seen as or is called social engineering, and this is they will have knowledge in ways to persuade another person from this system to via email or some other way to install this program, and then the virus will be injected into or executed on the computer and will do harm. And they can be this is some so what are the motives? Why do people do this for the viruses or use this attack vector? Well, there can be in some way to seek some kind of profit, ransom, or like to gain some money from it, and it can also be stating a political message. It can be just for personal amusement, and it can also be a way to effectively demonstrate vulnerabilities in programs. Or it also is a way to sabotage or use denial of services, because in a cybersecurity context. So this viruses are a very fundamental way of attacking or as an attack vector. So what are the attack surfaces for this for a virus? Well, as we talked about before, this social engineering aspect could be an email. It could also be through a network's hard drive. So somebody plug a hard drive into a network. It could be through files, sending floppy disks. So somebody goes out and picks up a floppy disk on the parking lot outside of the company, for example, and then go back and insert it to the computer of the company, and then the virus gets in that way. and and also portable media, of course. So it could be an MP3 player or an iPhone or something. But and this is of course done by phishing, and also through the web could be an example of that. And the worms, as we talked about before, they will just continue on by the moment. There's a virus spreading by independently from computer to computer, and they could, for example, take up valuable memory and use network bandwidth, which could stop a system from responding, or computers from responding, and worms can also allow attackers to somehow get a remote, or in a way get the remote control of a computer. And that could also be, that's very effective for attackers to be in control of computers inside the system. And they have also these attack vectors, as we see in the viruses. So another one of the attack vectors is our Trojan horses, or Trojans, and they are simply, or not simply, but they are hiding harmful programs within them. So they are it's computer programs that hide harmful programs within them. So once they are executed, they will be executing programs that will cause harm to the system, the computer. And they can also be implemented by email and phishing and the web. Another one is Rootkits. Rootkit installation can be automated, or an attacker can install it after having obtained root or administrator access. And obtaining this access is a result of direct attack on a system, exploiting a vulnerability. So they will be. So there's been an attack, and then they have the access to the system, and then they will then they can install these rootkits to have the access. And once it's installed, it becomes possible to hide the intrusion, as well as to maintain privileged access. So the subject for attack, or the will not be aware that this has happened. So in some way they intrude, and then they seek not to prevail to the subject of attack. And then they will have this privileged access that will allow them to perform harmful actions within the system. For example, to take full control over a system, and could modify data, software, and otherwise to be. So this is very. Once they're in, it's very harmful to a system. And then we also have the ransomware. Ransomware is a type of malware from cryptovirology that threatens to publish the victim's personal data or permanently block access to it unless a ransom is paid off. So here we have a seek for money or something immediate, cash perhaps, and the way they will the subject of attack will want to pay this money is because the attacker will lock down the system, prevent a company from performing from using the IT system computers, and in that way they will block their work, a way to operate as a company, and which is so in some way this is they are quickly aware of the attack being executed, but then they will also try to somehow get it back up and running by either decrypting it by themselves or perhaps need to pay this ransomware, which is the main goal, perhaps of the attacker, as the one of which the cases have been in major several ransomware attacks on on many big firms. So and they sometimes they have a security, or what do you call it, like they are insured, they have somebody vouching for them. I don't know how I can't remember the but they in some way they actually have a way to deal with this if it happens, but still they are locked down, so they need to somehow get the money to the right people. And then and this is also and one of the ways that this is the ransomware is doing this way is like cryptoviral extortion. That's an advanced way of locking the system without damaging something on the system, and it encrypts the victim's files, making them inaccessible, and demands a ransom payment to decrypt them. If you can't decrypt them themselves, but perhaps this is one hard encryption to encode, and you have a short. Perhaps you don't want your system to be locked down for months in order to. So you want to still to carry out your business. And these are used by these are typically implemented by the Trojans. So this is a way Trojans are being used to implement. So you get the Trojan in, and then it's the ransomware is implemented to the system, encrypts the system, and locks down the business, the IT system. And this is the way the Trojan is getting through the attack surface is by being looking like a legitimate disguised as a legitimate file. So they will be tricked into downloading and opening it when it comes through an email. So they first of all need the email, and then they think, okay, this is okay. So they will download the file from the email. And then we have the some examples could be the WannaCry Worm, that of these ransomwares that travel automatically between computers without user interactions. So this very effective way of or very harmful or very effective attack. Another attack vector is spyware, and spyware this is a malicious behavior that aims to gather information about a person, so it lays within the word of spy or organization, and send it to another entity in a way that harms the user, for example, and this could be by violating their privacy or endangering their device's security. So this is so simply this is about information of the subject. So this is perhaps could be we know ways to want to spy on other people to get business information or other interstate information, and this behavior may be present in malware as well as legitimate software. Websites may engage in spyware behaviors like web tracking. So this is seen on several different levels of the information, and this could also be through hardware devices. That I would say that would be more that will demand a lot more. Spyware is frequently associated with advertising and involves many of the same issues. And this is since the behaviors are so common and non-harmful uses. So this is so in some way it also states here, or we also have hard to, as you can hear, it's seen on many different levels of both in hardware, web, and software. So in some way, spyware is also considered a difficult task to categorize. When is it spyware? When is it not? Gathering data from users through advertisements or other ways. that could potentially go on and be some kind of threat to somebody in some time. They say that with TikTok, for example. They will, for example, some people say that if you have TikTok and you perhaps used it for some kind of, because the issue is that they say that young people should not use TikTok because that could be the information they put there, if they could later on be because since it's not regulated in China where TikTok's from, well, this is could potentially harm their way of climbing the international ladder of some position or a CEO or something. If they want to pursue a career, they perhaps China has information that could be questionable, or could be put them in a questionable situation, because since perhaps, I don't know, but that's somebody who says that. I don't know if it's so important, but then they would recommend, these people also recommend you use Instagram or Facebook, where we know the data is regulated and there are certain laws that apply from within the Western Union. So adware, this is from pop-ups, as we see, advertisement that show up on your computer or mobile device. Adware has the potential to become malicious and harm your device by slowing it down, hijacking your browser, and installing viruses and or spyware. So be aware of that. I think we already know that, but we already know the pop-up blocker we have installed. SQL attacks. These are also known as very effective and very endangering, or it's serious attack vector. As a software developer, you would definitely want to avoid SQL injection, because if they can be executed, they will they could prevail a lot of data from users' databases and other data that could potentially exploit passwords and other logins, and therefore they are needed to be avoided, and they are seen very commonly, and one of the top 10 threats to the from stated by the OWASP top 10 risk in software development. So and these they use malicious SQL code, so they will somehow execute SQL code on in the input field, and then they will they could perhaps also manipulate, so they can erase data if and they have a very potential harmful effect if they are not mitigated this threat by the developer, ensuring it not to be using JDBC connector in Java, for example, using some way that can that will prevent this. There are a lot of tools when you program that can prevent SQL injection. So before you're putting something up on the web, you use these tools and not code your own SQL retrievals of the databases in the hard code them. Perhaps you could do that, but the recommended use is to use these JDBC connector before, for example, with Java, using these way to retrieve data, because they are they are preventing these kind of attacks. This information may include any number of items, sensitive data, company data, user list, and private. So here we also have this. They could manipulate the data within the company, very, very harmful. Buffer overflow. A buffer overflow is a common attack, cyber attack, that deliberately exploits a buffer overflow vulnerability where user-controlled data is written to memory. So they will try to try to get data into your memory block, and in a technique, in advanced technique of programming. So and thereby overflowing your these memory blocks in your system to prevent and thereby overwriting data in other parts of the memory. So it will just continue on from the memory block to to put in data and avoid, and then you can, and then it can potentially overwrite data in other parts of the memory. Smurfs, DDoS, as we heard about a lot of in the news, Smurf is a network layered distributed denial of service, and named after the DDoS Smurf malware that enables its execution. Smurf attacks are somewhat similar to ping floods, as both are carried out by sending a slew of ICMP echo request packets. And these are more commonly known as DDoS attacks. And this is this is harmful or this is effective for dragging attention to attacks. And perhaps you could mask some of the as we also talked about before, but you can mask a potential like you can do this diffusion, confusion diffusion, where you intend something else. You mask the attack. So you first of all you do DDoS, and then they perhaps people will be more focused on that the website is down, so all the attention is dragged to getting website up, and then in the mess of this attack, you will drag the attention. Then you will have then the attacker could perhaps have more time to deploy something that is more malicious in some way. So this even though it seems very not so harmful DDoS, it could be potentially be used as confusion attack, so. And then we also have the botnets, and they will speed up a hacker's ability to carry out larger attacks. So they will just help the attacker to be more effective in the attack. One person or even a small team of hackers can only carry out so many actions. So this is a way to use more than they can, it's a way to acquire tons of additional machines to leverage for more effective operations. So they will go out and they will use other computers to carry out the attack. And this is done by a bot herder that leads a collective or hijacked devices with remote commands. And once they've compiled the bots, a herder uses command programming to drive the next actions. And then the party taking command duties may have set up the botnet or be operating as a rental. So this could be rented computers. So and then zombie computers or bots refer to each malware-infected user device that has been taken over for the use in the botnet. So also zombie computers. You could use other people's computers too. And these devices operate midlessly under commands designed by the bot herder. So and they will use this for DDoS or something, like brute forcing something. So using all this computer power to go and attack some attack surface. So this was a little bit walkthrough of some of the this was the attack vectors. I also mentioned some of the attack surfaces, but I think we will do that in another video. So thank you for watching. Bye.